Yes, people, much love and respect, blessings, blessings, blessings. Greetings. Yes, checking in, people. So, we're going to do some reaction. Yeah, I'm going to do some reaction and, a lot of the games that's played today as well. Quite a few reggae boys, around the place, get some minutes under their belt. So, I'm going to get much in some of those games. Big shout out to what happened in, we say, the capital of Azerbaijan, Baku. Yeah, Kahim Paris. At one point it was Javanese, and then it was the last, probably seconds, the last play of the game. It was Kahim Paris. Even though much player didn't really do much in the game, but let me say this: out of the two, Kahim Paris, I think, played a better game than, if you look at it. He had a very good start to the game. Could have easily scored the first goal of the game, or I think it was the second goal to equalize 1-1 on the day, but didn't took his opportunities advantage. But he delivered some very good crosses into the box. He created some very good eye-opening moments, for his teammates, and you have to give him for that. After I think he was sitting on the bench the entire game, of the first leg that played in Romania. So shout out to Kahim Paris, man. Big shout out. We will have a reggae boy player again, playing in the Champions League. This is not something that is a usual thing that usually happen. It's very rare at times. Sometimes we'll have 1, 2, but you're not going to find 5, 6 reggae boy players, playing into the Champions League. But let me get into this 1 second. Yeah, so I'm very grateful, for him. I'm very grateful for him, to be honest. Really love what the player is doing at this moment. Just taking his opportunities whenever that times come. And I was very surprised to see him in the starting 11. I was very surprised of him getting that nod, that rare start. You get what I'm saying? So I want to if you want to react, to the game or any other topics you want to talk about, the link will provide in the comment as well, where let's see. So the link is in the comment. You can react to that as well by coming on here and talk around whatever you want to talk about. I think I'm going to get to One Love 555, where he's talking about Dujan Whisper Richards. Yeah, I'm talking about the Portuguese league should be the ideal destination for Dujan Whisper Richards of playing European football and also getting game time in the local league as well. I just want to. Why this is not. There's a slight technical issue what I'm trying to sort out right here, people. Just bear in mind 1 second. Okay, no, I got it. Yeah, I got it. So I got it right now. So everything solved. Good. Yeah, so I'm going to react to some of the games that's played today as well. EFL Caraboa Cup gameplay. You say, look, Efran Mason Clark is back. Came off the bench. Grab a goal as well. I think there's Karai Anderson didn't feature off the bench. Yeah, I think there's just one of many that played in the Caraboa Cup. Just probably 30 minutes, 45 minutes ago, an hour ago as well. Would have seen, his team, got trash, at home, 4-1. But, coach came out, during their preview, build up to that game as well. Like, look, some of my key players, including, the reggae boy player, will not feature in around the game. You get what I'm saying? Unless something drastic happen and they really need someone, to get on the pitch as well. But looking at it, at this moment, it was a good day. Yeah, let me say that. It was a good day. We have players getting goal contribution in the Carabao Cup. We have player, qualifying for the Champions League as well. You get what I'm saying? So it's very much a very good day. for Reggae Boy football. Not all of the players, get the nod, from the get go. To be honest, some of the players, I think quite a few of them, maybe like Jamal Lowe, seems to be like one of the main guy, going forward, one of the number one option going forward for Sheffield Wednesday. The capo, Isaac Hayden for later, and Arian, maybe these players will not really get the start, because these clubs, especially look at Wednesday, you look at Leighton want to actually stay above and float of what is happening in League One. The same for Sheffield, administrative issue, points deduction, and stuff like that. So the coaches will not really come out and play some of their main guy, and it's just ironic that quite a few players are in around the main players for the starting 11 that they will really get rested. But let me go ahead and get around of what happened today in that Saba FK Beersheva game where Javan East team playing Kaim Paris. Very much I was on the side of hopefully Javan East team, the Israel team could really get into the UEFA Champions League. For one decent reason. How is this? I don't know who's that. For one many reason, he's one of the main guy, for that team. He will get minutes, even though when I look at the both legs, he would have scored in that first leg in Romania, but playing out a position, it's not the Javan East, in this age of 29, 30, 31. It's not that Javanese made when he was younger. Javanese was a very good, quick right winger, but the laterally getting into his career, older he gets, he's want to be in front that goal. He want to be as a poacher, want to be as a number 9. And I believe that over the two legs, the first leg, he was much more playing, I want to say a little bit more attacking, to be honest, getting himself into very positive areas of trying to receive the ball, and you can say it as well, like, look, with him playing out wide right, with him playing out of position, each time that ball get into the attacking third, you always have, the Javan East getting into the box. He's out of the two wingers, he's the one that playing much, much closer, to the number 9. So it's like, a half winger, getting into the half space, getting in as a right forward at time, getting in as a center forward at times. And in the game today, Javanese work his socks off. He works his socks off. Like, he has so many, recoveries, sprinting back. And Javan East won, quite a few, fouls as well. He won quite a few fouls, in the game where he's drawing, the attention from the opposition team. Each time, when he's falling down on the floor, he's telling his teammate, like, relax, calm down. After they scored, in around the first 15 minutes, I think so, in that game. And they were very much impressive, from the start. Karim Paris team seems like they're a little bit nervous. It was a packed stadium. I wasn't expecting so much people at the stadium, to be honest, because of the experience of watching them playing in previous ties. It was just like a half empty, quarter empty stadium as well. So let's see what will happen. But look, there's will be a Reggae Boy player in the Champions League, and Karim Paris, on his side, look, he got opportunities where he could have scored. He hit the post. I think that's one of the 3 shot that hit the post. Kaim Paris was involved in that. He found, his teammates, I think 2 times, from the right wing. I think he got booked because he dived in the box as well. So I think he was more of the brighter spark. He was much more of a light, the live wire, between the two. And I was really impressive, with him. I was really impressive. I think he shows why, he needs to, to get more games. And I want to leave this question out there as well. So we have a Champion League player at this moment. The window is not over, so we don't know what will happen. Even though I'm nowhere know what is happening with the future of Paris. I'm not assuming anything. I'm just putting it out there because the window is still open and you never know what can happen in the window. Yeah. Who knows if a bigger club can come in? Who knows if things can happen in the pipeline? But I'm saying with Kahim Paris, having this type of a success, won the league, just months ago. Yeah. I think in May, the Azerbaijan League, now qualifying for the Champions League. Do we have to really select a Champions League player in the national team? Can the coach overlook a player that, playing out over there in the Far East of Europe in Azerbaijan, but getting minutes, playing in the Champions League week and week out? And if he can put in very good shape, if he can put in good performance like what he did today, have a little bit of a cameo there and there, want to take on, your defenders, 1v1 each time you're coming up against them. And I think he was more positive than a bit negative, where Javan East was tend to draw a bit of a foul, draw the contact, slow down the game, making, the simpler passes, stuff like that what Javan East was doing. And he was more of a workman style, putting in the hard yard back into the defensive third, while Paris was more on the front foot. So I'm saying, man, what would be the cause, with him playing in the Champions League, and if he's getting regular minutes, getting the nod from the goal, how can you overlook a player that's playing in the Champions League? Yes, it might not guarantee of playing, that level that, look, you can get into the team. It depends on what the coach really want, from that personnel. Yeah, it depends. But I'm just putting it out there, man. Like, what would be your thought, around Kahim Paris, of getting a chance back, if he's especially going to go on and to play minutes in the UEFA Champions League, especially coming up against, big teams, performing. How can you overlook a player like that going forward? It's going to be a very difficult task, of overlook a Kahim Paris in the national team. So right now, I believe with him, I think him have the edge. Yeah, I think him have the edge at this moment of not say he's going to get automatic, selection, but him have the edge of just putting some simple, fundamental, basic, the goal contribution, performances, in around the big stage of the Champions League. Everyone watch the Champions League. The Champions League, the viewership, the games, it broadcasts in every region apart around the world. So he will be on show. He will be on some of the biggest, telecommunication company TV. You'll be watched by some coaches, technical director, sporting director, you name it. So I'm just putting it out there, with him, I've experience with the national team head coach, in previous time playing locally in Jamaica. He once was here, for the Gold Cup as well. I think that was maybe 2023 or 21 Gold Cup when he got called up as well. So how can you overlook, a player if he's putting in a decent half-yard performance and playing in the Champions League as well? So that's where, I really going to leave it, between Kahim Paris and also Javan East. Yeah. So I'm going to look with Javan East. So, it said Javan East, I've created, 2 chances. I was going to say, those chances are really clear cut chances, to be honest. There's one thing in the game. Javan East has 6 recoveries. Yeah, he has 6 recoveries and he was fouled 4 times, in the game. That's how much Javan East was fouled in the game as well. 4 times. Paris, had some shot towards goal that, he created, I think, 2 really good chances. One of them a big chance. It fall right on the top of his teammate head. He had some, shots towards goal as well. One of them hit the post. One of them, I think, really flashed wide, I think, to the goalkeeper right, because he was coming off the right side, cutting in as the left foot, and trying to get the crosses, trying to get the ball towards the goal as well. So good job. We will see Sabah FK from Azerbaijan in the Champions League phase this time around. Yeah. So there will be no more Leon Bailey, yeah, in the Champions League. Let me know. What would you think? Yeah. All right. So the the Plymouth and the Coventry game where that Premier League team versus a League One team. People, I'm a bit worried. Look, I am a bit worried. Joe Latibodier best performances came in this year of the second half of the campaign, right? And his position was whether it is in a back three or a back two, and he was magnificent. But today, for some reason, he was playing at right back, and that's how much centre halves is there at this moment in Coventry team. The addition of Ethan Pinnock will officially unveil very soon as well. He was playing at right back. Look, 1v1, when you're going to have wingers going direct, towards Lati, and, getting inside, have him, crisscross him, have him turn inside, have him turn outside, going down the byline, cutting it back in. I think if you square up Lati body here, you're going to have a bit of a success. And I'm going to say the goal that they conceded, I think that goal, Coventry was leading 2-0 and then they concede. That first goal for Plymouth, the home team, that was solely on what Latibodier was doing over on that right hand side defending. It was horrendous. It was so poor from him. His positions, how he picked up, first marking the player, running at him, it was poor. You know what I'm saying? Not define this with him of how the player is at this moment, but it was just in that moment where it was just poor marking, poor awareness from him. And I just believe that coming up against winger that just will run at him with pace, score him up at times, he will make bad decisions, as he knows that, look, I'm not blessed with pace. Yeah, I'm not the quickest around. So he will try his best to backtrack, allow people, to come and double team and help him. But it was in the case where it was just too easy. And the video, I think, by now, should be up there somewhere on YouTube, that highlights game for Plymouth. Some of the highlights, for some of the Reggae Boy players, I will not play it on live, because I cannot control on how, I'm going to upload a video with knowing that it's going to be CBS Paramount. A lot of those videos are very much monetized by the company, so you cannot use it. If you're going to use it, then there will be maybe a block on a channel, maybe a strike, or maybe they will allow it, but they will control the monetization, and what that video earn goes into their pocket. So I cannot really control that, but if I'm going to upload it, then I know what to do to take out what I need to add in, so that video will be monetized on my end as well. So maybe for some of the videos, for some of the players, some of the performances, you will see that video, early for the video that will drop tomorrow morning as well. But first goal, that they concede Coventry, it was all down to Lati. Very much, glad to see, Mason Clark, on the bench, as Frank Lampard came out and said, during the Arsenal game, he was much in contention. But again, maybe knowing that Arsenal, Emirates, there's not going to be too much, for Coventry in this game. So if the season just started, you don't want to rush one of your main players, back on the pitch, someone who play with a lot of, physicality, who likes to sprint around, coming off a little soft tissue muscle injury as well. So much rest needed, for him. And he got, a few days extra in the tank, came off the bench, got the goal, 4-2 victory, then moving on, Premier League team, beating a League One team. And very much that was it. It was just so simple, on the day for them. And the bright spark in that game is that glad to see, Mason Clark on the pitch, not just to scoring goals. Yes, it's good for him, confidence going forward. They have a big game coming up, at home. I think it will be on Saturday versus All City, a team that they recently played in the championship. So they will want to, get their Premier League campaign kicks off, with that 3 points. All City obviously beating Manchester United. what Saturday Gane already. So they're very much up and running, in the league. I'm not sure if they win. Yeah, I know they went into a penalty shootout with Stoke City, so I'm not sure if they got that point. So I wasn't really paying too much attention. And outside of the games, as there will be no Reggae Boy players yet, so I think he can check. So All City moving on. They won 5-4 on penalty as well. That game finished 1-1. So yeah, All City, back to back win, for them. So it's going to be a very challenging game, and Coventry will want to win. They will want to make a statement. Clark will want to get on the pitch. Hopefully, he will get on the pitch. I think that when you look at the two wingers, that played and started, for Coventry in that first game versus Arsenal, they tried to play a bit positive. They tried to press on the front foot. They tried to play a little bit attacking. Not too much build up possession, just very direct. But you could see that the pace was really lack up in that final third, and a player like Adjurite was out, a player like Mason was out. So you very much see that the players that really played a bulk of the games and scored goals last campaign, they weren't a part of that front three. Sims, scored double digit last campaign for Coventry, but the main players weren't really playing up there. You get what I'm saying? So looking forward to see what will be the selection like, of him getting 20-30 minutes into the tank. That's very much for him, moving on to the next game, which will be at home versus All City. So the next game up, another player, playing in the championship, coming up against a tough Premier League team, Demarai Gray, playing Brentford, man. I mean, look, it was ugly. It was very ugly. Even the amount of goals, that went in. Even the Demarai Gray himself have to pick up the ball out of the back of the net. One time, I think it was the third. I think it was a fourth goal. Yeah, I think it was a fourth goal. Even the Demarai Gray himself have to pick the ball out of his own net, and he's a winger. That's how deep he was in the game. And when you have your winger, in the back of the net, I pick out the ball because the man them score a goal. That tells you a lot. And what was the game? Look, Birmingham played not kids. They played good quality championship players, to compete. Yet they were trying to go, toe to toe with Brentford, but it wasn't good enough. And that game between Brentford and Birmingham City, it shows the level of where championship football is at, and it shows you the level as a player, and you want to get up there. That's the level you're going to have to hit. And I wouldn't say Brentford really kicks into third, fourth gear. They were very much cruising into first and second gear, and that was it. They were very much cruising. And Jaden, Anthony, he have a very good game, as well. He had a very good game out on that right hand side. Let me say that, man. He's a very good winger, old fashioned winger. Likes to get ball in the box, like the takes on player as well. So with them, I agree. I believe the keeper should have done something better, with that ball. But with that ball kicked so hard, went right through, the crowd that was right in front of him in the 6-yard box, in the 18-yard box. There was no way that's so easy he was going to stop that, because I think Demarai Gray really punched that ball very hard as possible. Yeah, but it's good. It's very good, to see Demarai Gray, getting a back-to-back goal as well. I think he have done that 2 times, if not one, last campaign as well, where he got, goal contribution in back-to-back game. But goal last weekend, Saturday Gane versus Bristol, a few days after, getting a goal versus, a Premier League team. I think that's a confidence booster. Gray is a confidence player. He needs to be on a level where he's getting game time. The momentum is with him. He's been trusted as well, to get the nod from that game. I saw an article, in I think one of those Birmingham newspaper headlines. I think it was on X where they did an interview. It was written in words. Demar Gane quoting him that yes, you haven't started a game our season in the league nor in the cup. I want to get more games. I want to start from the front. I want to prove, to Chris Davis that, I deserve, more game time, going forward, especially from the get go. And he proved himself, getting a goal. He was just maybe that one player, on the pitch, really was trying to get something. And if you remove his goal that he scored today, he was a little bit slightly above average. Yeah, he was slightly around average. I don't know if it was because of a Premier League team. He wants to prove himself. He wants to test his quality. He wants to show to the fans that, I can still do it, at this level. You get what I'm saying? So I see a little bit of a fight, within him in spirit. He was a bit hungry, with his teammates, with himself. You could see his body language. It wasn't pleased of what he was seeing happening on the pitch. And I think a few minutes, I think it was the midway of the first half, he was running around about, trying to just to close on the play, trying to just to press. Yeah, it wasn't something consistently over the period because at one point, Brentford just had the ball, moving it around, playing quick, playing through the channels real quick, playing with a lot of strength. This Brentford team is so good. They can do everything. They can keep the ball. They can be nasty. They can be physical. They can play the ball, through the lines, attacking football, quick counter-attacking football as well. So, I mean, it's a team that's going to give a lot of Premier League team problems when they playing games at home and on the way as well. So, big up to Demi. Rico, I think Rico, it was more of a calm game. Yeah, he was playing from the left back role. He got very good minutes in the tank as well. Not sure how many of these games that Rico Henry will get, from the start, especially when you look at I think you have probably, if not one or two players, in front of him. He came off the pitch for Louis Potter. Iki started in the right back role as well. See Brentford trying to get a right back in, but there's a big worry, for me with Rico Henry. And if Brentford go ahead and sign Malik El Diouf, the Senegalese, in that role, someone maybe will have to leave, the football club because I just see this Brentford team doesn't really, go into Premier League teams with a big squad. It's not the team that will have, a bunch of replacements sitting on the bench, not getting games. It's a team that likes to rotate a bit and keep everyone comfortable, in and off the bench. So if you have people that, cannot really get onto the pitch, cannot make the 5 substitution off the bench, then, at times, even though when you use the modest professional player, you're going to be upset. You want to play. So it's a little bit different, this time around, for Rico. But there's one thing I can say. If Rico Henry going to get minutes consistently, game by game, yeah, I believe he will not get out of that starting 11. Just like the mistake. I don't know if it was a mistake, but they gave him opportunity in a big game. And then it was injury after pull him out of that starting 11, yeah, and that injury was away to Bournemouth at Vitality Park as well. So it tells me, man, there's a bit of a challenge at this moment. So you have Louis Potter at times, will start in that left back role. It seems like the manager more trusted in that left back role. The way how he can get up the pitch, the way how he can defend. Yeah, I was even watching that Tottenham game, over the weekend, and he was very much always in the box, in the attacking third box in Tottenham defensively. So he's a very good player. Don't get me wrong, he's a very good player. Aaron Hickey, I'm not sure how much of a player, is more than a Rico Henry. Yes, can play left back, can play right back, but to me, in my own eyes, it just seems like Keith Andrews trusts those two players more at this time over a Rico. So with him, 12 months left back on his contract, this is the year that they extended as well. So I'm not sure if there will be any extension. I will very much surprised, and I will even very much surprised as well if there will be an extension, somewhere along the season or the end, and if Rico Henry will accept that with the minutes that he will get in on the pitch. But I'm worried. I'm a bit worried that he will only get games as soon as these cups ties, the Caraboa Cup, the FA Cup, and how long will Brentford stay in these type of tournament? What will be the priority? For them, get deep into the cup, try to win one, or try to play, in the Premier League and qualify for one of those European spot as well. So I mean, I will get into the comment section very soon. I'll get in the comment section very soon. But the other game that I had is the Leighton Orient game, and Walsall. Leighton Orient won that game and penalty as well. Courtney Clark scored his peak. I think he stepped up, I think, second or third in line. It was a very good, calm, gentle, PK as well that he scored. But again, very good game by him. Very good game by Courtney Clark. Isaac Kidney came off the bench. Get to some of these comments. Yeah, I will look. I will get to your comment. One love. 555. As soon as I get through some of these games. Yeah, big up yourself. BM. Bless up Ricardo. Imagine Paris and Javanese playing Champions League football and can't make the Jamaica team. That's what I'm asking. What will happen now with Kaheem Paris if he start to get games in the Champions League and start to put in around a bit of a shift and start to score even goals locally as well in Azerbaijan. I think him have a very good chance of getting picked just because he's in the Champions League and he's putting in the extra yards. But he might have the advantage at him feet at this moment. I believe that he have skipped the line just a bit farther than quite a few players. It's now him, to be honest. He's going to have to do more. He's going to have to do more to even beat down the door a little bit more harder. Makes it the beat on the door, a bit louder, so people can actually start to hear. Like, listen, Paris is behind the door and he's trying to get through. You know what I'm saying? So well, that would have been a great move for Richards. He was talking about the Sporting Lisbon thing right there. We get to that very shortly. Football looks good for Jamaica overseas and internationally, says Lano Dan. Brooks 2 for Norwich. I think he came off the bench to play some minutes as well. Frecklington with a masterclass performance. We need to call him before the year ends. I think we are a bit light. I think we are a bit light in the defensive area. Remember one time, I think it was the 21 Gold Cup, or probably more so of the second Copa America that we played in. When was that? Yeah, when was that? After we played the Copa America in Chile, we played in a Copa America again. I'm not sure if it's definitely not the Copa America that just passed. Try to remember if we played a Copa America between the one that we just played previously and 2020. Yeah, but I remember one of those Gold Cup where we had so many defenders at this moment. Yeah, our defenders, it's a bit rough with minutes. Yeah, our defenders, it's a bit rough with minutes at this moment. I'm going to say this. There will be spots available if that JPL player can start to put in some big performance in the Jamaican Premier League. There will actually be a spot, I believe, for a Jamaican Premier League player to get themselves in around this national team. You look at player, forgot his name, you have Minks, Mount Pleasant, you have, not sure much, but I'm just throwing out names out there, but you have Brown, Racing, you have, I forgot his name, You have Young. You have Young himself. Just some of the big names in the Jamaican Premier League. That's all. I think that's how bad it is, to be honest. If you ask me, yeah, we have little bit of quality options that getting minutes week and week out. Yeah, so I just believe that you actually have at least one JPL player that if he can play above the rest and up to a quality of people start acknowledge that look, this youth is a talent. I believe there would be a shout, for him, regarding the centre back role. You have Pinnock, you have Lati, you have King. I mean, if you want to throw the vice captain name in it, you have him. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not Duncan is more of a right winger. You get what I'm saying? Duncan is more of a right winger. Deshaun Bernard is still struggling to get to full fitness as well. So you don't have the numbers anymore. There's just quite a few players that really, get it. And Ethan Pinnock is 33. How longer he can go? Now he's going to play, minutes more in the Premier League. Then it should be a better Ethan Pinnock regarding the minutes that he's going to play. So let's see, man. But that's just my thoughts process around it. It just goes to show the gap between the Premier League and the Championship is way different, man. It's way different. Demarai Gray is still the best left wing we have. That's a big shout. That's a big show. Yeah, that's a big show. Bravo. Demarai Gray is the best left winger we have right now. Yes, because why I said that's a big shout. If to be the best, you have to be performer at the best. Yeah, you have to be performing at the best level. The more consistent player. And I'm not sure where Demarai Gray lies at this moment with consistency and being average in game. Yeah, back-to-back goals, but to be the best left winger, we have, you must be doing it at the club level and also at the senior level. Before the Bristol goal, the penalty kick, yeah, the last dying moment penalty kick, it was his first goal of 2026. It was his first goal of 2026. And actually, it was his first contribution in 2026. His last were December the 6th and I think December the 9th. So it tells you where Demarai Gray is at of being consistency in games for club and country. And in the last 10 games for the Reggae Boyz, I think, Demarai Gray don't have 5 goals contribution. So it tells you that this is a big shout for you to say that Demarai Gray is the best left winger we have. Quality wise and what we know what he can do, he's right up there. He's right up there. If you look at what a few wingers have done, yeah, it's very much hard to leave them out of the light of not having them as one of the best left winger, to be honest. You get what I'm saying? But quality wise, what he can do on the ball, what he can do with set piece, how he can strike a very good ball towards goal as well. He's right up there and getting very good crosses into the box. Can square up defenders 1v1, getting down the wing, use up the touchline, or getting that quick sharp cutback and get that ball on his right foot. So he is right up there quality wise of what he can do. Yeah, and the skill set that Demarai Gray have, no doubt about that. Yeah, but the best, you have to be performing at your best, and I'm not sure if Demi doing it at this moment. Yeah, club level and international level. But if you drop these 2 games in, it's very much of a shout. It's very much of a shout that listen. At this moment, with these 2 games, it's right up there. It's right up there. So we see Cephas, getting goals as a left winger. We see Kahim Dixon, getting in goals as well. But not downgrading your opinion. That's your opinion, and I really appreciate your opinion as well. But it's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's questionable, very questionable. Brentford is getting so good, says Alum 444 as well. I mean, I would love, to see Rico just get a bit of a minute, more in this Brentford team. I believe he's still a very good asset, but he's going to have to be patient. Yeah, I believe that maybe with suspension, maybe with injuries, I don't really like to call on injuries on players, but it's probably going to have to take players are in bad patches, poor form, injury, suspension. You get what I'm saying? Just not being available for that particular game at all. International game. Well, I don't know if I can put that one in because he's coming from way across the Atlantic, and you know what coaches can do after coming off an international break with the Reggae Boyz team. A lot of the players tend to get the nod on the bench or get the nod at home to stay and recover fully and better so they can go on, to have more games under their belt without having any injury. You get what I'm saying? So people, if you want to contribute, if you want to give your takes, you want to give your takes, there is the link in the comment section. You come through audio as well and you give your takes. What's your thoughts surrounding these sets of players as well. I would love to appreciate one of you guys click and come through. Your audio will be played in the background and that will be it. But someone says Cephas is Jamaica best winger right now. Wow. And I believe he's right up there. I believe that's a very good shout. He's right up there. His impact in games, can be very crucial and can be game changing moment. It can twist, turn, change the dynamic and the flow of the game, change the whole, score line, change, coaches have to make and tweak, tactical in-game management. So I think that's a very good one as well. BM says Cephas is Jamaica best winger at this moment, and I cannot really add Mason Clark as yet. We know the quality where I'm sure in the championship. Yeah, we know the quality where I'm sure in the championship. We not see what he can do as yet. Yeah, he never really deliver in those two games. Yeah, never really deliver in those two games. But I'm sure a bit of a glimpse of the fundamental stuff that the way how he was brought up in the game, the way he's coached, and when you look at him, and if you study some of the wingers over the years that came through English football, right, you really can see that Mason Clark is just a bit slightly different of never really shy away from nothing. Yeah, never really shy away from getting stuck in being a bit naughty in terms of play physical, get into people's face. He never really shy away from that. He's like a little bad boy on the pitch, but in a more principled, disciplined way. Yeah, he can lose him calm and cool, but I believe that stuff like that came from with him playing non-league football. Yeah, playing in the National League, the football league for Barnet, with even Jamal Camberise. He's talk about that, how much of a role model that fella is, with him come and want to play for the national team and his family. So I think with him having the experience of playing brutal football down there in the lower tier, help him to get tough. Mikel Antonio speak about it as well. Jamie Vardy speak about it as well. A lot of these players, not all, but a lot of these players, they're just like a bulldozer. They just run through everything, and he's slightly like a player like that, and he shows that when he played against New Caledonia, but more so against even DR Congo. It shows that he's never really shy away of putting in the extra yards and put his teammate and the off the field antics away from his game, and also be positive and keep the distance away from him, tracking back and not being tracking back. So it's a close tab around everything with his game. he's not too far away from not doing the extra stuff to get him a bit even far, because quality can only bring you to some places. But if you don't have the determination, if you don't have the grit and the resilience, attitude and the discipline, if you don't have those and there's a quality, we see what quality brings a lot of players nowhere. You get what I'm saying? So if you don't have that extra bit that you can carry with you, yeah, if you have that, God walk with you. You go in places with the quality. We need 3 more centre backs, 27 or younger, who are comfortable on the ball, and that's very good. That's very. I think we are on the wrong end. Yeah, I think we're on the wrong end. I think probably Lati is the youngest, really at the highest level at this moment. Then you're looking at a Richard King, and I believe that, I'm not sure, but me not like what me I say with King. King playing so many years in the Jamaican Premier League, he needs a bit of a game time. He needs more games under his belt. He needs minutes on the pitch, to get better. King played a lot of games last campaign. He played some very good game, but he made some horrendous mistakes that you're looking at, like, as a centre back. One, the main thing was King last campaign, right? One, he wasn't tough enough dealing with crosses into the box. And as a centre half, playing in the UK, playing in Scotland, that's rule number 1. You have to take care of those business. You have to take care of those business. Getting your head in the aerial doors, winning the first header, pushing people out of your way, being physical, get a bit more strength, within the gym or wherever you can get those strength. But it needs to be a lot more tougher. And I feel like they look a cool, calm thing on the ball. It not gonna really just get your places in England. You have to can deal with the off the ball stuff in England. And I see quite a few times, not many, but quite a few times, when I get the opportunity to watch Richard King, and I guess when we get the opportunity to see Richard King on national TV, then that is a feature game in Scotland or somewhere in the UK, right? That's when you want to put your best performances in. Yeah, that's where you want to put your best performance in. But with what he can offer without the ball at his foot, it's very limited with Richard King. And you can do that somewhere else. Countries like the Netherlands, you get what I'm saying? Countries like Belgium, you get what I'm saying? You can do that, what you want to do, the fancy stuff with the ball at your feet. You can do those stuff, in some games in the La Liga. But in tough games, especially in the UK, rule number 1, smaller teams will just throw the ball at you, will throw the ball in the box. And they're going to ask questions. Look, Manchester United weren't ready as yet. Yeah, it wasn't ready as a team to win the first head, to win the second balls in the midfield, to run the extra miles. As a team, they wasn't ready. So guess what? They got turned over and they lost the game 2-0. So one of the notable game I remember, it was Hibernian. Yeah, it was Hibernian where Richard King falling short each time the ball get into the box. And I cannot forget that game. Yeah, I cannot forget that game. King, I have a lot of hopes for. Very good defender. I think him have a lot of promise, a lot of quality, that you can rely on, on the positive side of the football with the ball at his feet. But you need game time. He needs game time to brush off, those little rustiness, off his game. And I think that it's a bit worried, especially the coach that brought him in. The coach is not there no more. I think the coach went to, if it's not Motherwell, it's Aberdeen. But the coach is not there. It's a new coach. Yes, King gets some games, in the early rounds of the League Cup as well. But when you look at the league, I'm a bit worried of him not getting the competitive games. Because look, playing in the League Cup in Scotland, yeah, it's how much that's going to really test the quality and get the best out of Richard King. Yeah, St. Mirren, will always have the bulk of possession. They will always, running the ball around. So he will not get challenged of people running towards him, people throwing the ball into the box, coming up against better quality number nines. And that's where I think I'm a bit worried, of him, and I'm watching him keenly and how long this trend, will continue, because in the back end of last season, King made some mistake. King made some big blunders, including that stupid red card. I think he fall for that. Yeah, when you're going to do action like what King did in that game to pick up that red card, yes, the referee was very poor. It was a bad decision, but when you give the referee something to look at, yeah, in terms of the action that Richard King really flashed, wasn't good enough. Wasn't good enough, and I believe that in his game time to get better and to fight those rust off. And I don't know if it's a 2-year or a 3-year deal, but this year is very important for him. It is very important with his development of try to be that next defender to unlock that next quality that I think he can go. Look, he's not the tallest, he's not the quickest, but my next issue, one, was the aerial duels, the challenges, dealing with target number nines. My next issue is Richard King awareness on the pitch. If you are not heading the ball properly, if you are not getting stuck in challenges, and you are having issue with your awareness, as a defender in the UK, you're in problem. You are going to be in problem. Yeah, I think with scouts at this moment of looking where what they asking for for defenders in England, if you're not going to be the quickest, if you're not going to be the most physical player, you have to can read the game. You have to can read the game. And rule number one, that was Cannavaro, DNA, as a player, like just around 6'1". Cannavaro wasn't the tallest, wasn't really the quickest. He used to have a bit of a speed, but you used to have defender that more quicker than him. But what he can do, he can read the game. And I believe that with Richard King, when we see last season, he might have a bit of an issue of reading the game properly. We'll see it playing, for the national team again. We'll see a little bit of where he can get caught off the ball, can get caught up the pitch, probably at times want to hold on to the ball a little bit, too long, give the ball to the midfield players, play the ball through the channels, hit the pass quick as possible. You are not the creative player. How much you can change the game in the defensive third to the attacking third. Yeah, you can find some very good passes, which I think he did brilliantly, through the campaign, 1 and 2 good passes, long diagonal passes, but majority of those were over 8, out of place. It was just too much. Yeah, so things need to fix around King, and I think that game time alone really can help him. You can do all the work off the pitch, but if him don't have the game time to do those practical on the pitch, then it's going to be a long road. It's going to be a long road, man. But let's see what's going to happen. I still have high hopes, for Richard King of getting back into that team of St. Mirren. Maybe absence, out of form, players not performing in, bad patches, suspension probably will help him to get back in. And as just like what happened, how he got into the team. He got into the team because of injuries. Yeah, I think the captain, I remember if it was Gagic, that number 6 balled guy, play in the back line for them. I think he was injured. Quite a few injuries in the back. And he got into the team and never looked back. And he got minutes. We were a bit, during this phase, last campaign, we were a bit worried of, okay, what will happen to Richard King? How will he navigate himself from not being in an environment of Jamaican Premier League into of playing Scotland, Rangers and stuff like that? I would have seen him play, I don't remember if it was a game where he played at Celtic Park versus Celtic, and I think they lost that game or drew that game in the last damn moment. But he needs to get back himself in somewhere around that where he can get games. We need better centre back, right back and left back. I think you're right. I think you're right. We need bodies, in that back line. Bodies. TC is the best, so that one is saying going forward, TC is the best. Big up Marvin Ferran as well for your comment. Yeah. King has been underwhelming to say the least. Yeah. King is out of the JPL now. He has to be, making less mistakes. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to, when especially you have playing up there in Scotland, yeah, you have clubs in the championship and you have clubs in League One. Not saying I would love King to be in League One, but I would love to see him in the championship. But you have clubs that scout for some of the gem, the cheaper bargains, because clubs in the championship see Scottish Premiership as a cheap bargain league. Spot some very good gem, spot very good talent. And I remember when he just signed, the newspaper are the main media outlet, I think, that cover St. Mirren up there in Scotland, in Paisley. Yeah, they label King within Virgil van Dijk name of, can this player be an unknown to a known popular player? And they select and list out all the levels and the journey of Virgil van Dijk and ask the question, can this Jamaican player do similar, not the same, because they can't be that stupid, but not the same, but they asked a question. And I remember that article. I saw that article. I think Ballpree TV end up did a video on that. I think I did a video on that. But they asked a question, can this player, young player, unknown player, can he continue on that pathway of similar of what Virgil van Dijk did at Celtic? You get what I'm saying? So you could see that the people in St. Mirren really have high hopes for Richard King. Really had a lot of high hopes, at the time. So we just hope that things will turn and twist for Richard King. I'm surprised Coventry, bought Pinnock. He seems to be in the decline. Yeah, I think Pinnock is in the decline. I think he's more on a decline rate than increasing, especially when you look at someone used to play 30 plus games in entire campaign, whether it's coming from the championship in his days with Brentford or his Premier League days. Yeah. The last campaign, I think he played 8 games in our competition. And I think before that, he started the season very well. And I think up to the part where he picked up that injury and he came right back, I think, for the St. Vincent game, that Gold Cup qualification. I think from there, he just lost his spot. I believe at the time, the former coach, saw something else in other players. And I think, I remember if it was Collins, I think it was one of those players. Collins, one of those players came in for him and never looked back. They never looked back. He scored today as well, for Brentford. So it is just one of those things where I think with not playing no real minutes last campaign can be very detrimental to Ethan Pinnock at this moment, especially when you look at his age in the Premier League. You don't want to be in the Premier League at 33 as a centre back and you're not getting a game. You're not getting a game as a centre half as a 33-year-old. And I did videos on Crystal Palace, looking at Pinnock, West Ham looking at Pinnock, and I think the West Ham one was very bad. Yeah, I think the West Ham one was very bad in terms of the rate and where West Ham was chatting and where they were going off. Yeah, this is not the road of going to a team that's going to be in the championship very soon. And you could see it. No, I think him will give himself a lot more opportunity and a lot more time of trying to be one of those savior at the back. Because I think Frank Lampard said in the press conference or the build up for the Arsenal game, they asked him about signings and he said that he don't want to overwhelm the squad with too much signings. Maybe that will break the rhythm. Maybe that will break the morality, around the players. You get what I'm saying? He wants to strike that balance of getting in, getting in the right, 1 second of people. 1 second of people. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I was saying, man. He was saying, look, he wants to really strike that balance of getting new players. He wants to make sure the players him what him gonna get into the team, of make sure that one, they're good, for the dressing room. Two, they have the experience in at this level, and they have at least somewhat quality and a bit of a physical threat, that they can have, because he said his team's a little bit lightweight. There's lack of experience, at this level. So if you look at the players that he's trying to add, is players that are already a little bit experienced in around the Premier. So I just think it can be a miss or it can be a hit for Ethan Pinnock. It's either way. And at 33 to sign a 3-year deal, I think he really come to realization that, look, if this team going to get relegated, I'm going down to the championship. I'm going down to the championship. 3 years with an extra year, I think he has really put all his eggs in that basket for Coventry, and he really buying to the project of what Frank Lampard sold him off. Look, we are trying to stay afloat. We are trying to get and stay in the Premier League, and then try to do bigger, better things next campaign. And I believe this season and next season is very critical, because if he's not going to play up to that level, yeah, more on that decline than increasing, I think he would be in problem of getting being dropped, getting being moved on. We know the Premier League, you can easily get moved on in just a season or two. So I'm having a lot of hopes that he will be, a hit for this Coventry team. And I think with them have one centre half in this squad that use left foot, I think that is a plus, because Pinnock is very good of playing in our back three. We see Frank Lampard do it already, in the championship back three and also back four. So he's a player that can slot right in that left centre half, whether it's 4 or 3 pairing at the back. So I have high hopes. Hopefully, he will get some very good points and help the team moving forward and stay in the Prem. Does East now play Europa? They're out completely. Now, I think they will be in the Europa League. They will be in the Europa League. How they do it, I think when you enter the UEFA Champions League first round, the qualification round, if you get knocked out of the first round in the qualification of the Champions League, you get knocked down to the conference. But I think after the second round and you get knocked out of the UEFA Champions League, you get knocked down to the Europa League. If you get knocked out of the Europa League, you get knocked down to the Conference League. And then that's it for you if you get knocked out of the third one. So they will be in the Europa League, man. We will see East, in the Europa League. Yeah, we will see East in the Europa League. And maybe that will probably do better, for him and his club. We see Ronald Webster takes advantage of his club being in the conference, of playing lesser competitive games, in Europe. Play teams that slightly around their level where they can compete just by adding, a little bit more into them game. So I think that with Apple, Beersheva, I think they should compete even at a higher stage in the Europa League than in the Champions League. It's going to be very tough. Rob Smith says East deserve another call, but St. Miriam almost got relegated last season. I think they fall off a cliff. I think the manager really lost the plot. I think he lost the plot. I think there's so many stuff that happened. He was asking for quite a few funds to strengthen the team in the summer transfer period as well, where the club didn't really back him, and you could see he left the club the moment he get an opportunity. That man run away like a goat in the forest. You get what I'm saying? So their team almost got relegated. They got saved by the bell. I think they kind of rebuilding back their team after being, challenging for a European spots, quite a few times. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not sure where they're going, but they still have good players. We see John Morrow Calvin got, some minutes as well in the early rounds of the League Cup, but not so much in the Scottish League as well. So Rob Smith saying East deserve a call, and I believe so. I was talking to someone, today. I was talking to someone today, and we were talking about the East and Kahim Paris, and we were talking about which one will make the Champion League. How can the coach bypass a selection of a player playing in the Champion League? You get what I'm saying? And I was saying, man, East deserve a call, and he was asking me, said, "Yo, do you think East have a future with the national team?" And I said, with his age, not really, but he's a player that if he's going to get picked, it's what he can do now. And I believe that with a team trying to rebuild, yeah, you want to have players that's going to have room to grow and, grow into the team and have a lot of years behind them as well, where they will have good age of being around the team for the next 4 years or the next 8 years. Like player like Joel will have the age to be around for the next 8 years. You get what I'm saying? But I believe East is a player. Get him in now and get the job done. That's it. He's not a builder. He's not a builder. His status should not be the builder. His job, his details around the national team should not be a builder. His detail and job title should be a finisher. Yeah? The marksman, the maverick, the one that going to get the goals. No. You want to help? Get someone who can help. No. But you're going to need other people that's going to have the potential, the quality that you can build around and unlock even different quality out of them. You get what I'm saying? So I think him can get a call up regardless of his age, regardless of him age. He can get a call up, but it's what he will do now, not what he's going to do 2-3 years down the line. We need is to get some goals in the national team right now versus Central America. And we talk about the coach being select Shaman Nicholson because he scored like somewhere around 10 to 12 goals against Caribbean opposition team. That's why he got selected. That one of the main reasons why he got selected, right? Who scored more goals? Like Javanese in around Central American football for the national team. Not many. Or if not none. So we see East score goals for Saprissa in Costa Rica. The Central American Cup that they played to go to the CONCACAF Champion League. We see East score goals in that tournament as well. We see East in the CONCACAF Champion League. So in literally almost half of his career, he have played in Central America. So he know the language. He know what is Central American football. So I mean, he would be a good asset to have. You get what I'm saying? He might not come in or ask him to get from the get go. Yeah, you can ask him, listen, East, I need 30 minutes out of you for this game. Just like we hear so many stories of Sir Alex Ferguson. The season just started. 2 months in, you're looking at someone, putting your arms around them and said, hey, listen, on Boxing Day versus Liverpool, or on Boxing Day away to Stokes or away to West Ham at Upton Park, you are going to be the player that I need on that day. There and then, that player is psychologically thinking about that Boxing Day game. So, man management, in-game management, it have to be on point. So, you have to let East know this is your job, brother. Yeah? You're not after the future. This is what you can do for your country? No. I'm a believe that we don't have a lot of players beating down the door in that position. We don't. We literally don't. He's sure you say, even at his age, he's still knocking on the door of getting into Europe. How much player at his age, around late 20s, leave leave outside of the continent of Europe and get into Europe, score goals, yeah, for one of his rival team that he played for previously in the Israel League, getting transfer in a half a season or a 3/4 of a campaign for his new club to a better team. And I don't remember if they won the cup or they won. I think he won something. You know, don't quote me on that, but I stand corrected. And now he's score goals to help his team in the Champions League. He score goals in the league. You know, he was a non-starter. Now with the East, we know who is a poacher, number 9, a fox in the box. The coach now have no other choice but stick him out there on that right hand side. And what I like about is the way how he deliver and try to stick up the Azerbaijan players on that pitch today and slightly play out of himself, slightly play out of character, of do stuff that wingers tend to do, or the more defensive players try to do in games. He was more instrumental helping his team in around the defensive third than more how he was helping his team in the attacking third. So he shows that the attitude of just giving the details, the maturity of understand what the game needs at this moment. East was the one drawing the foul. I said it earlier, yeah. Javan East, I think he gained 4 or 5 fouls in the game today. And 2 out of the 4 or 5, 2 times, Mr. East, where his team trying to rush the game and they were leading 3-1 up on the day. East was like, he hold on to the ball and he was like, relax. That is experience. That is maturity. And at the time, that's what the game needed. Someone to slow it down. Someone to drag the pace out of the game. Someone to kill the momentum. So me I say, me I look at East game because East once was a right winger. He once was a winger during his time playing for young Portmore team and playing for Calabar, Coles under 16 and into the Manning Cup team, schoolboy football. So it's not like you don't understand to play as a right winger, but what really strike me with East is experience and maturity of getting the job done in that scenario. So me I say, if him deserve a call, get the man a list of things what you want from him. I'm no East. I gotta do it to him best at him ability. So I think that we need players who are gonna be a gunman, who are gonna be a sniper for the moment, and that will help team going forward. We can't have people who are gonna want to be safe all the time. That not gonna work. That not gonna work. You make the man know, say, look, regardless what you do on the pitch, if you miss or if you do that, but this is your duty. Don't listen to the noise. Don't watch the crowd. Yeah. If you get this done today, this is what you're going to get select more and more based on what you did for me previously. Because that would again a little bit of a confidence between the coach and the player. Like, listen, this is what you can do. This is what I'm gonna do. And these are the stuff that when you listen to documentaries, when you listen to coach, speaking in interviews, it's similar. It is so similar. Like the understanding, the good communication, it's very good. You have to break that barrier of being a coach that not likable and likable. It's tough love. It's tough love. Like I remember growing up as a youth, my old man used to tell me, say, look, you're afraid of me, but you have to love me. That's tough love. Not many parents can tell a kid that you are going to scared of me, but you're going to love me. And that is a huge line of respect. And that is a big thing to tell a youth. You're going to love me, but you're going to scare me. And I used to think, how am I going to scare this man and love him at the same time? But he did it. And I think coaches that have good man management skills can get him around players. Because international football, it's not really for the future. But you can do this stuff by highlight and identify some of the best young gems that you have and grow with them. But international football is what you can do now. It's what you can do now. We have Nations League. We need to get out of this group to get into the knockout round and try to get a bronze, silver, or a gold medal. We need to get out. Jamaica they're on a rebuild, but me guarantee you, me and everyone watching the stream or who are going to watch this stream, after this finish, me guarantee you when this Nations League kick off, we are gonna look at Jamaica as a team to get out of this group and to win this group and to go and challenge against Panama, Canada, Mexico, and the US. Even though we know we are not at that level, but we still are gonna look up to the team of how can you compete against them? What you going to do? So leave it right there. Yeah, leave it right there. And Ronaldo website is good enough to play in the top 10 or 15 league in Europe. Romania move wasn't the best. And but on the fence of slightly on the fence of being more agreeing with the move, but I was expecting maybe from North Macedonia to closer to Scandinavia. That's what I was expecting. Maybe like a Turkey, maybe like a Serbian team, but one of the top teams. You get what I'm saying? I was a bit surprised, but not saying that it's not a good team. It's a very damn good team. In Romania, it's a very damn good team. But I think him still have one more season or two. Yeah, but one more. I believe him still have one more to really go and push himself again. But what really help Webster? I know what the Webster do locally in North Macedonia help him. Our Webster do against teams from La Liga, teams from Poland last campaign in Europe. And when him do in them local games, they played like 4 or 5 games in the league phase. Yeah. So they played probably around 6 games in the conference league of the league phase and to the knockout round, right? I believe that it's what Webster did in the European ties makes him a bit more profitable and also get him a little bit more popularity of knowing that look, there's a good left back over in North Macedonia playing for Skengia. So I'm on the fence slightly of agreeing that look, man, I think it's a good move, but I was expecting more. I was more expecting to see him, as I said, somewhere near Scandinavia, Norway, Denmark, somewhere right there. I was expecting him to be one of those big boys in Norway, the 3 big boys in Scandinavia, I must say, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. That's where I was expecting him to go. But let's see if he can do some good work. I think he had to really kick off that career, for him and his new club. I'm not sure. I think they got knocked out of the conference qualification round as well. So that will not help. That will definitely not help a Ronaldo Webster of getting highlight of be one of a gem. But I 100% agreeing with you at saying that look, top 10, top 15, if he is supposed to make a transfer there, it wasn't going to be a misplaced transfer where he's going to just look out of place, because we see Webster what he can do. Webster is a fit player. He can run. He have good quality. He's getting better defending 1v1. Yes, he can be a little bit rational, but you want that to carry with him. You get what I'm saying? You want those kind of traits, to carry with him of being aggressive, but be a little bit more disciplined with your aggressiveness and a bit more intelligent of making the right play, know when to get aggressive, know when to calm the game and look a bit down with a little bit tranquility. So let's see, what will happen with him. A third one, wing isn't the best position for East. Yeah, it's not, but they have their number 9 and he's scoring goals, and East is making good performances off the bench and getting goals in odd games. Yeah, so they have no other else choice but to stick him up there. But one thing though, BM, I watch both legs. Yeah, I watch both legs, and the team sometimes tend to play in a 4-3-3 and sometimes tend to play in a 4-4-2. So even though East sticks out there on the wide right, but when it get to the dangerous era, East is in the box. And if you can look at all the chances or all the goals that his team scored in the last game and in this game today, East was in the box. So it's not like East being out of place, but East has been clever enough of knowing that he's playing as a wide right. At times he's playing as a supportive forward where the team shifts into a 4-4-2 at times, but majority of the game was a 4-3-3. So East played slightly as a winger and as a right forward, and he's intelligent enough, know when to get into the small pockets, yeah, to receive. And East had quite a few times open areas where the ball should have actually reached him, but because of misplace, the pass was bad, it was over it. They never really find, Javan East, to the timely manner where he was free. So let's leave that one right there as well. There's one more, thing, and it's one more thing I really want to talk about. But I remember this comment, right? From One Love 555. He said Portuguese giants Sporting, Sporting Lisbon are the main club that has lined up a move for Dojan Whisper Richards this summer. Chelsea recently, tied. Everything good upstairs? Oh. Chelsea recently tied Richards down to a new long-term contract running until 2032. All right, so move on again. Paving the way for him to finalize a loan, which to Sporting, CP, which is Sporting Lisbon, for the 26-27 season to gain valuable senior experience. Key details of the deal: the destination, Sporting in Lisbon, Portugal, where he will have the chance to play in top flight European football. So, all right, it's not a bad shot. It's not a bad shot. It's a league that develop young talents all over the world. It's a very good league, and Sporting is a very good organization that believe in products. Yeah, good quality young players. They know how to get the best fine tune out of them. And mega switch the screen very shortly because I want to see Sporting attacking players. Yeah, I want to see Sporting attacking players. And I believe we need to look on whether or not, he will be an ideal candidate for that particular team. Trying to find their squad. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this change and bring up the. Just give me one moment. One moment. Let me get things changed around here. Um, I really want to have a conversation about this, which I'm not even downgrading your statement and your comment. One Love 555 around Dojan Whisper Richards. So I want to look at some of the players, for Sporting at this moment, right? So we see them have Luis Suarez scored so many goals, right? So all right, so this is a talking point. Whenever Whisper their name really come about, there's always a very interested topics in our own Doja and Whisper name as well. So basically, One Love 555 saying that this will be the ideal place for Doja and Whisper Richards. Portuguese Giants Sporting are the main club that has lined up a move for Doja and Whisper Richards this summer. Chelsea recently tied Richards down to a new long-term contract running until 2032. Paving the way for him to finalize a loan switch to Sporting for the 26-27 season to gain valuable experience. All right, so I believe that this would have be a huge step up. This would have be a huge step up for Whisper. And looking at some of the attacking players that Sporting have in their squad at this moment, right? I also want to get this pull up, on my phone so I can see it much closer. So we see Luis Suarez. They have a 19-year-old, Flavio Gonçalves. They have Luis Guillermo. That's a good young talent as well. He played there in the last campaign, coming from the Premier League. I remember West Ham bought him at a very young age. You have Jesse Derry. Yeah, this is a player that was in the Chelsea academy. I think he played with Whisper as well. In the Chelsea academy, I think this player is managed by Rio Ferdinand agency. So you have Rodrigo Zalazar. That's a right winger. Yeah, he is a Uruguayan player as well. He played for Braga last campaign. So you have Rodrigo Zalazar, who played for Braga last campaign. 47 goals, 47 games, my apologies, 47 games, 23 goals, and 8 assists. Before that, 24, 25, 30 games played, 8 goals, and 7 assists. His first campaign for Braga, 49 games, 8 goals, and 9 assists, coming from Schalke. These are the young players that he's going to have to come up against. Yeah. Another player as well that I want to look at. 1 second. Let me get his name. All right, so we're currently looking at the attacking players. Do you feel that Whisper at this moment, can challenge some of these players for a starting spot? And I believe that if Whisper should move to Sporting, he must be one of those players at some point, guarantee her some minutes, from the start as well. I think it's a good pathway. I think it's a good, learning curve, but it probably will be a higher reach. I think it will be a higher reach because they have so many young attacking players, in their squad. And I'm looking at it where these players, except Flavio, as the 19-year-old, except Jesse Derry, who just coming over as well from Chelsea. Yeah, very young player, very much promising one as well. They have a lot of time for, they hope that, he can go on to progress very well. But we just look at some of the players in this team. You have this player from Mozambique. His name is Gane Cantamo. Yeah, worth 17 million. He's another right winger as well. We know Whisper likes to favor that right wing. So you have Jenny, Catamo, and also Rodrigo Salazar. Whisper have so little games in his tank at the senior level where he's going to have to buy him time in that team. And I think what Whisper need at this moment that I think can firecrack in our parachute is way back up to stardom and get him back up to get him to our next level more faster. I think the game time I think game time will be massive. And if you look at the situation where Kaheem Dixon is at, leaving Charlton Athletic, probably around 5 senior games for them. Majority of them were in the cup, the AFL trophy, played more minutes in the academy, but got moved and shift around over in Serbia and getting 3 starts in a row. I think that's what Whisper need. Not exactly, to Serbia or to that particular club level, but to somewhere more or even competitive. I believe he needs to go to that club where he's going to guarantee more than 50% of the minutes per game. And I'm not sure if he will be guaranteed in this team because these players all have minutes in the tank. They have goals in the tank. Their stats are much better in the tank. They have years of experience, even though some of them, right in around the mid 20s or younger, them have that experience in the tank. So these players, I believe, will have a more of a bargain of getting the nod each time. So it can be a very tricky one. Sporting Lisbon is a big club in Portugal. It's a big club that push out youngsters every season after season. I remember when they really write off Victor Gyökeres, yeah, of being a Coventry player. He's not good enough for the English game, not even for the championship, yeah. And he go there, to Sporting Lisbon, spend a couple seasons there, and then he shortened up his tool. Luis Suarez is another player. Yeah, I think he's coming from one of those La Liga clubs. He's coming from Almeria. He's coming from Almeria, playing La Liga 2 and the La Liga. He was relegated with them. And look what he's doing right now. 53 games, 38 goals, and 8 assists. This is what the Portuguese league can do for you. Get you sharpened, get you ready, get you unlock different levels in your career and go to that next level, but it also bulk up your stats. So I think that with these players, in around this squad, I'm not sure if it's the perfect move. I'm not, and I think Dojan Whisper Richards at this stage, he needs a perfect move. He needs the perfect. We don't need a good move. He needs a perfect mood. Where is the comment that so Whisper is a talent. Whisper is a talented youngster. He just needs a chance to show it, and I agree. And that's why I think this is just my own point of view of getting across that he needs to showcase that talent. How much he's going to showcase his talent in Sporting? This is a team that last campaign, they finished second, and they will be. I think they will let's see where they are at this moment in Europe. So there's no European. They finished second, so they should be in the Europa League or something. It shows that they're supposed to be in the Champions League qualification. You get what I'm saying? And at this time, there's no European qualification. So I guess they will be in Europe. So yes, they will be in Europe, but it's tough, man. This is a tough one. One Love, 555. This is really a tough one for Whisper. These players that's all in this team, I'm not sure. Even look at young Luis Guillermo coming from West Ham. I mean, it's going to be a good call. It's going to be a good call to get a very good club, for Dojan Whisper Richards. To be honest, not sure. I'm trying to see which players. All right, so um you have this youngster. He's 21-year-old Rafael Nel. I'm not sure how talented is this kid, but this kid played over 50 games for Sporting Lisbon B team. Whisper have not yet even played over 50 games for Chelsea. Yeah, I'm saying not even 30. So he needs game. He needs game, and he should be craving for games. At this moment, he should be craving for game because at his age, Whisper have lack of experience playing, academic games and senior football. That's why I think that he needs that team that where he's going to get in and showcase that talent. And that team is somewhere out in Europe. That is Craig Butler homework to do to get that best club. And I think ego should not be a part of it. Being a Chelsea academy team, you want to go sign for a high quality name brand team out there. I believe that it should be beyond of a name brand team. To say of, oh, why Whisper I go sign for that team there? Why Craig Butler? I don't think it should be in a situation where hype or show that you can get your players at this level same way for this particular club. It should be of the benefit of Whisper career at this moment. And let's see where that one goes. Yeah, let's see where that one goes, man. But I think I'm finished with this Whisper thing. The thing is that holding back Whisper is he's not playing senior football to showcase his ability. And I think that is what really hurting him. And I think when you look at Whisper, career stats at this moment, it's just not healthy enough. It's not healthy enough. Like when you look at this corner. Look at Whisper right here. It's not healthy enough. 27 games for Chelsea and a 21 team. 4 games for Leicester City. And you move there to get to get game time. You see, it's not healthy enough. And that's what hurting the player. These needs to be better. These stuff needs to be better. And at his age, he needs to be getting more time. He will be 21 this year. He will definitely be 21 this year. I want to click and look at, all right. Just look at this young 19-year-old player. I'm not doing who is better with this player. Flavio, Goncalves. I'm not doing who is better, right? But look at this brother. Look at his corner. Playing for Sporting B team, 41 games. Playing for the senior team since last year, October, 10 games, 1 goal score. Look at the under 19. Yeah. Look at that. 13 games. So I'm just saying, with the average talent, yeah, and I believe this player have a bit of a potential as well. Sporting would be, reward him with 10 games in the senior team. But I'm just saying, with the average young talent, and he's 19, the average young talent around Europe, around Whisper age, they all playing football. And that's why they go on to even be better. Whisper can do the same. He have time, but now is being labeled as a Chelsea player will help you. That obviously is a part of the jigsaw as well. That will parachute you into any top team. So you can't leave that one out. But at this time, career, which should be beneficial right now for Whisper. Career wise, should be more beneficial for Dujan Whisper Richards at this moment. You get what I'm saying? BM says League One is the best place for Whisper. BM, to be honest, I really want Whisper to leave England. Really? Alright. You remember when Whisper went to Leicester City and the ship sink? A lot of people saying that Whisper should stay on at that club, right? Whisper should stay on at that particular club. And I remember I was saying, I don't remember if it was publicly or with someone, but I was saying that EFL football is so tricky where the tide can high today and then tomorrow the tide low. 3 feet down lower than what it was 24 hours ago. You get what I say? So I just think that EFL football is for the ones that thinks that they are close to breaking through a level of championship club, cracking that code, or just some minutes in the championship to crack the code to play for a Premier League team. Is it your permanent team or another team? And I think that Whisper don't want to be in an environment where it can be chaotic at this moment, like Leicester City. Look what is happening to Leicester City. Russell Martin as a manager, I even to say I have a client, yeah, wants to go to Leicester, I would tell him think twice. Anywhere Russell Martin want nowadays, it is all chaotic scene going to be at that football club. Look what happened at Southampton. Look what happened at Rangers. And look what is happening now. Not even 5 games in competitively in League One. And fans are very frustrated with the manager already. So these are the things that can happen. Raheem Dixon was brought in at a League 2 team to get minutes to make the difference as a player that's coming from a higher tier club than Crawley Town. They expect better from you. They expect you to be one of the leader by leading, the team going forward, to play, a lot better, to win games, for the football club and to help the football club. And, youngsters like Dixon who needs a bit more, game time under his belt, to really to play consistently a little bit more. They never really have that time for Dixon. They never really have that time because Dixon came in and he got the opportunity. Yes, Dixon was running all over the pitch like a headless chicken, doing good things and doing bad things. But he needs someone at that time to really calm him down and to really steer him into the right direction. And I believe that what happened to Dixon, what happened to Whisper, people should realize that English football is not for the product that who not even 50% ready for English football yet. If you are moving to England as a young player, you must be at least somewhat a below par championship player to really to survive from actually going out on loan and get into your division where you think you can be comfortable. But for Whisper, it's tricky being, to go to League One. I think he can go there and it can be a hit. He can rip it apart. But I think it's more have to do it where he can play first team football and also play first division in that league. I think that will help. Like English football, so rich. They spoil. But I don't think English football is the right place to develop. And I think that when you look at over the years, Chelsea sending their best product away from England. Look at it. Chelsea have done so much for Derry, who is at Sporting Lisbon, who I think used to play with Whisper in the academy team at Chelsea, right? They have done so much with him. But they decide that he needs to go on to the next level. And I think the perfect platform probably send him internationally. He will get game. Dominic Solanke, they send these players internationally. Armando Borja, they send these players internationally. Before Mason Mount played for Derby County and I think was it Wayne Rooney? One of those managers, at Derby County. He was playing internationally for a club in the Eredivisie League. So when you look at some of the gem of a player that you think Chelsea really thinks that they need game time, they're not ready and they need to be a bit more suitable for English football, they send them away to have that experience. And I think that's what Whisper need. You get what I'm saying? Maybe if Whisper was playing, say he played probably like 30 games in the championship last campaign with Leicester and played very good, then his confidence will be there. Then he would have actually went through a lot of different phases of what the championship game have to offer, and he probably have understand to navigate. But to steer there, man, it's rough. It's very rough, man. But I mean, you definitely have a point because it is the 30 year of English football. He must can actually navigate himself around that to stay on top. You get what I'm saying? Um, Richards could not cut it at Leicester, and they were relegated from the championship, and they are in around relegation spots already in the League One campaign. So it's a very bad situation at this moment. You know, they barely can find family orientated club that will help. You get what I'm saying? And people, look, I have to go run off for the life. I have to go run off for the life and tend to my kids upstairs because it's been a little bit chaotic upstairs. Both Richards and Dixie do well if they get game time and with a good team. That's very good. Dixon and Richards are not as good as TC in my opinion, and you're 100 absolutely right. You get what I'm saying? You're absolutely right. The moment TC played that first game for Charlton, you could see that this player just a little bit more minutes. He was built and ready. He was built and ready for League One football at that time. You get what I'm saying? So let's see, man, what would happen to Whisper. They also are not as good as Brooks and Mason. Nah, you don't even have to call them man the name. Yeah, you don't even have to go that far. You don't even have to go that far. But they have good potential. I think if they go away and get the right proper treatment and be around the right environment, then they will be very good. Madness, you are talking about both players. They went to two worst team in the league, and you want them to be Superman. I mean, like, all right. Leicester's team was bad. Leicester team was bad, and I can defend, I think, Rani on this. Mukesia, look when that player walking that Leicester team, Bobby Reed was injured, Jordan James was injured, and he was walking into that Leicester team as the man, as a youngster coming from City. Watching Mukesia today again, him very being instrumental in that number 10 role for West Ham. That was a player was playing in a very bad team. Yeah, that was a player was playing in a very bad team of Leicester with Dojan Whisper Richards, who I think Mukesa was a very good talent coming from City to Leicester City. And look what the players had. Mukesa was a top player. Arguably, the half a season when play, maybe he was Leicester's best player alongside Jordan James. So I think that Rani have a point. Yeah, you have a point as well. It was a bad team, but there's other youngsters. Look at the youngsters that was in the team. I think his name is Monga. Yeah, that youngster, he was 16. Look at when he was playing for Leicester at the time. He was playing good. Why Jordan James as a youngster? Yes, Jordan James might be more experienced than all the names I'm calling of just playing senior football in England, but why was he playing at to a level in a bad team? Kahim Dixon get this opportunity, but guess what? These things will happen in around the EFL pyramid. Teams not going to allow you to be bad for 10, 15 games. You're going to get cancelled, or you're going to find yourself on the bench. You get what I mean? So each one of you guys have a point, but I believe that it just can't down to the team. It can't just down to the team. It's not solely down to the team of a bad team. It is a part of the problem. Managers were a part of the problem. Quality-wise was a part of the problem. You get what I say? Trust, confidence was a part of the problem. The productivity was a part of the problem. So I feel like with Mukesia came in from City during the time of Whisper, he went right in, but the point with him and Dujan, one got the opportunity and one got limited opportunity. For what reason? I don't know. You get what I'm saying? So the coach that brought him in left, but different coach came in and still stick with one of the players. So it is a talking point. It's very debatable. It's very debatable. When it's very debatable, with what Rani, N9, Rani M90, just comment a while ago. Also, they also are not as good as Brooks and Mason Clark. TC is the best than even Leon Bailey. That's what he's saying. Whisper isn't all that. Yeah, I don't think he is a super European talent. I think he's just a very good regular talent that people see every day in Europe. You get what I'm saying? But compared to the context of Jamaican football, here he's going to be a super talent because not many make the jump from a private academy to a Premier League academy team as well to get a contract. Chelsea wouldn't be interested in Whisper if he wasn't good. No way he can't be a good none. And I think that no player, not no player, I don't think any one of the commenters were talking about Whisper of not being good to that extent. I just think they were talking about maybe not good at that level. You get what I'm saying? So this is a very debatable because everyone right here commenting making very good positive comments as well. TC is good both in defense and forward, says Jamaica family vibes as well. He got more time, to train than Whisper and integrate. Yeah, but all right, cool. He got more time, right? But I was watching that player today. I was watching that game. West Ham was dead and almost buried. And he was a part of sailing that ship back up on the waterfront. He's so good. I think he might not be a City player in the future, but I think this player have a chance somewhere if he continue to progress. And West Ham team is not the most confident team at this moment. Losing to Charlton, draw your what? Draw your first game, or I think they were 2-0 down, I think, to Blackburn, and they came back in that game to draw 2-2. So yeah, they're not that bad or good team as yet. Yeah, they have a lot of fragile moment in around their squad. So man, it's a very questionable and debatable thing. Give it, he plays with good team and they will look good. Yeah, I think that's what I was saying. Like he wants to get into an environment where he will be loved, where he will be nurtured and develop well and coach properly, and being in an environment where it will relax his mind and give him that confidence of, listen, making mistakes is not the problem. It's how you're going to correct the mistakes so you can make mistakes and still be main player going forward. But we're going to sharpen your tools and correct those decisions going forward. And I think that's the environment I think Dujan needs to get in. Mason Clark looks like shit in the Jamaica team. Why? Yeah, the team was playing. You could see out of a system. You can see that the E wasn't really integrated as yet. Need a little bit more time. I hope we can see the best of him. But barely been playing for Jamaica over the years since 2019, and he has not been that player for the national team. But they have at least 2 or 3 very good seasons at the top level in around Europe. Bailey have at least 2 to 3 very good seasons for his clubs, and he never really show that a bit of a consistency for the national team. You get what I'm saying? Leicester is terrible getting back to back relegation, but you have players, man, that really takes the positive out of the negative sees that Leicester City have. 2 good players, just need time and good team, and I really agree with that as well. Tears, where Whisper going? Tell me, you people, book Omar Hutchins at the national team stadium. Oh, booed. I think that should be booed. Omar Hutchins at the national stadium. Who is the better baller? Whisper will never reach Hutchins' value. We leave that up. We leave that one up to time. Tier. We leave that one up to time. Super talent. If you make Chelsea first team, you are super talent. Hutchins to make Chelsea first team, and you people boo him. If Omar Hutchinson was still with the team, Whisper couldn't see the squad. We got Peter Mystic. There was an observation made about Whisper while he was at Chelsea. That he was playing a bit too slow, and that's why he wasn't favored in the attack. Alright, must see evidence of that. Must see evidence. I think it was the Arsenal or Man City game where they played at the Coben, right? Um, or it was at that stadium where the Chelsea women team played their home game. And I remember vividly where the coach, I think it was the coach that was promoted after Enzo Maresca got sacked. Was it what is I forgot his name? He was the coach, I think, right? And I remember, I think Whisper just coming back off that injury, nasty injury, and he was just trying to find back his time. I think he was like 2 game or 3 game in. And I remember the coach constantly like he's I think he used term whisper. He said like he might tell whisper like speed up, faster, faster, faster. And there's a bit of a evidence during games, and I think it happened in our game because the mic was so close because it's not a big stadium, it's not the most loud stadium, you get what I'm saying, so you can hear the coaches speaking to their players. And I remember away, I think he scored in this game, I think it was a Newcastle game away in Newcastle, and I think the coach was doing the same thing as well of getting instruction carry out to the player of what he's telling him, and his hand signal was moving faster, moving faster. So this probably be a prompt as well that it was very true around Whisper. Not saying it's 100%, but I see a bit of a evidence from the coach himself by giving details to Whisper. Yeah, it could be maybe coming from just a little bit of a more of getting a bit more faster, play with a little bit more speed. So we know the English game, it played very fast as well, like a basketball game. One minute the ball in the box, other minute in the other box. So can be very fast. Whisper is a good player. He just isn't getting the opportunity to show, he needs the right move. Yeah, everyone know that Whisper is a good player. And to Jamaican stand, to context as well, he is a super talent coming out of Jamaica at that time. We don't have many talents like that really nurtured and developed at that level, in Jamaica, of being around Craig Butler, go out there, each and every preseason time, go play the best, young academy teams and score goals against them. So I think he was very nurtured up to a very good level in Jamaica. And I think with him moving to Chelsea, it tells you that there's something in Whisper. There's something in Whisper. You get what I'm saying? So that is it with it for me. Stop finding excuses for a big man. When you playing in a shitty team, you're going to look the same. But it doesn't happen for everyone though. It doesn't really happen for everyone. Like not everyone really shows up not well in a shitty team. Like United team has been so crap, but for some reason, Bruno Fernandes get goals, assists, good performances there and there in bad teams. David De Gea, good player in Manchester United, poor defending as well. So it can show that okay, maybe this is a player is a good player, but he will not survive in this environment. But another player, it will probably work for him. Where is Whisper? No, me nah see him. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, to be honest. I really don't know how to answer that. Whisper is going to take a fall back Dixon and go into a club ranks 51 in the world. Oversell, he got potential. That's it. Yeah, I think the player have big potential, but at this moment, quality is not showing up at this point. You get what I'm saying? So leave it like that, folks. Leave it like that. Really appreciate you guys, being here. Dojan Whisper Richards, the stats just not looking good at this moment. And as I was saying, I was ranking him with some of the average players in that Sporting Lisbon team, which One Love said that's where he's heading. according to him, that's not my words, but according to him, that's where he said it's going. I don't know who it is, how affiliate this guy is to Whisper Camp and Craig Butler. I'm not saying what he's saying is false or true, but we are just going to take his words and let's leave his comment, to time and to see what will happen. But this is what he said around Dojan whispered Richards that the Portuguese giant Sporting Lisbon are the main club that has lined up a move for Dojan whispered Richards this summer. Chelsea recently tied Richards down to a new long-term contract running until 2032 as well, paving the way for him to finalize a loan switch to Sporting Lisbon for the 26-27 season to gain valuable senior experience. Key details of the deal: the destination of Sporting in Lisbon, Portugal, where he will have the chance to play top flight European football. Let's leave it like that, people. Much love and respect to you guys. Really appreciate you people as I'm marching out